Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and whenever you watch this replay. Prom is over. I don't have a picture to show you, but I will get that picture and show you tomorrow. Um it was a long night. Things are hard. Words are hard today. But let's talk about why we're really here. We're really here to talk about the can't talk. The analogous colors on the color wheel and why most artists are afraid to use that color trick. And is that because maybe it's too easy? Or is it to think of that? Or is it there's not enough contrast? But let's find out today on what is analogous colors and why it's easier to use those colors on the color wheel from the color wheel than one may think of. I mean, most artists feel as though they got to use all the colors, right, when they're doing their art. But sometimes simpler is better, or sometimes the obvious is right there in front of you is easier. So that's what we're going to talk about is analogous colors and why a that kind of a palette may be more helpful than you think. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and go top down and get right into it. But before we do, um, I do want to talk about my launch that's coming up, and I know excitement right now doesn't look like it on my face, but I am really excited. I'm just waking up. Really excited about my launch that's coming up and wanted to share another sneak peek of what's in the launch. And if you're really interested in one of these cardinal paintings, they're original. There's only 5 of them. And once they're gone, they're gone. Um, I will show you another sneak peek. And if you're interested on getting on the priority list, the link's below in the description. So let me go ahead and show you my next cardinal that I wanted to share. And if you are interested in him or any of the other cardinals, um, links below in the description. And I could just tell you, um, cardinals to me really bring a sense of calm and peace, especially when I, go through my crazy work day and I look outside my window and just seeing them in their element just really makes me wish, gives me hope that one day I will be in my element, so to speak, and get to do the things that I would like to do. I just really love their free spirit and the way they jerk their heads around and they're just looking at and not like a squirrel so much, but, they're always looking and listening and watching, and, um, I just find it really interesting, watching them in their element. So, anyway, I just wanted to share this particular, cardinal print with you or cardinal art with you, and if you're interested, again, the links below. Alright, so let's talk about ooh, put him over here. Let's talk about, I pushed that too far. Okay. I'm going to turn down the light just a little bit so you don't have such a crazy glare. I think that's a little bit better. Okay. Yesterday we used blue and we talked about one color um with shades and tints, but today we're going to talk about analogous colors. Now, analogous colors are something like blue, blue green, and green. They sit next to each other on the color wheel. I don't have any blue green paint, but we're going to make some. So I have a couple greens. They're not what I call true greens. They're variations of a green, just like the blue is not a true blue. It's a variation of a blue. But we're going to use the greens and the blues that I have today. So I have the phthalo green and I have the hooker green. Um, and one is a little bit, I think, darker than the other. Oh, this one's more bluer, that's it. The phthalo blue has a little bit more blue in it. So think of that as your blue, green, and then the hooker's green, I would say has probably a little bit more yellow in it because we all know blue and green make yellow. I mean, I'm sorry, yellow and blue make green. So this one definitely has a little bit more yellow in it. But we're going to use this as the green. We'll play around with this blue-green color phthalo, and then we'll have the cerulean blue that we used yesterday. So I still have paint left on my plate, and we're just going to leave it like that. And let's go ahead and get started. Now, um, I was going to say something, and I am struggling a little bit. Prom did go a little late um, yesterday, and then of course I had to take down all the flowers. And it didn't take long. It took longer to put up than it does take down. So, um, but anyway, so I'm just a little bit of sleep deprived, if you will. But the sorry. Okay, so the blue and the green, um, the reason why they're easy to blend is because they share a similar hue, and they have. Okay, so this is the green. Sorry, they have a similar um I would say light or pigment source. Hues the hu- yeah, similar pigment wavelengths is the word I'm looking for. Ooh. And so that's why they blend so easily on the gel plate. And it's not so muddy, right? When you blend these together, they go well. Like, oh, I don't want to go that way. I'll just keep going this way to blend it in. Um, it's kind of an ombre looking effect. Sorry. And that's why people may want more contrast, but I find that these colors are really look nice together. So let's go ahead and pull up the print that's on there already and see what we get. Mhm. Also, going back to muddy paints, right? Because they are closer together on the color wheel and not opposite of each other, they become less muddy as far as like the colors, right? Because most of the time when you do uh complementary colors like yellow, I mean not sorry, like red and green, when you mix those two, you're gonna get some mud. Um, they're complementary from each other, but that doesn't mean that they were meant to mix together. And they look nice together, but when you do blue and green, well, that's a different story. Their pigment or their hue is on the same spectrum, and so therefore, uh, they blend nicer together. They're not complementary. They go together, right? So, and because of that, I think people forget to use those colors. Blue and orange is a good example of a lot of colors that are used together. Um, More so than red and green, obviously Christmas, but so just one second here. So here we have the green and the blue. It's not mixed well, but it works. And then I like how the blue on top of that blue green. So like we did yesterday, I'm gonna add some blue and then a little bit of green, and we're gonna look at how that color changes. But I just wanted to pull this up, so I just used two fairly equal amount of color. Okay. So we'll add more blue and then a little bit of green and see how that changes. So when you're mixing, this is not like a tint or a shade. The color itself changes, right? So, um, I mean, you're bringing in two colors together. So this right here is now, I feel like they're very well mixed. So that was pretty easy to mix, in my opinion. Um, and that's because of where they sit on the color wheel. Now, I'm just going to take some simple bubble wrap because I'm more interested in showing you the color change than I am about the print itself. So let's go ahead and get a lot of this. All right. Now, we'll let that dry for just a second. Another thing about using analogous colors is that you don't have to worry about what goes together. Um, if they sit next to each other on the color wheel, that's an easy choice. You don't have to overthink it. So sometimes, I know me, sometimes I'm just going to let that dry and I'm going to talk to the camera here in a minute. Sometimes I know that I overthink things and you can use analogous colors as an easy way of not overthinking. Um, I find that when I'm at work or if I'm being really analytical or critical, I can get wrapped around the axle real quick. I don't necessarily want that kind of thinking in my art, right? So, using analogous colors in my art, that makes it easy. I don't have to overthink it, and worry about what colors go together. I mean, we got the basics, right? Orange and blue, complementary, red, yellow, and blue, your primaries. But if you want more variety without overthinking, analogous colors, I think, is the way to go. So I think it's probably dry. So let's try another print here. All right. This time I'm going to use a little bit more green than my blue. So I'm just going to do a little blue there. Now, we'll see if it's subtle or if it slightly changes, right? Now this one is more green. You see, the last one was more blue because we had more blue in our mixture. This one's more green on purpose because I really wanted that color change so that when we pulled this next print, you would see it. All right. Now, this is going to be a subtle change, but I just wanted you to be able to see the difference. It looks more green, to be quite honest. And that's all about simultaneous color, which is a whole nother lesson. So, as you can see, You have your darker blue green color, and then you have your more green blue color, which is over here. So it's definitely a subtle look. Okay. Now let's try a I want to try the phthalo with this blue. Now that's already a blue green color, but you're going to add more blue to a blue green color. It's a darker um, green than the one we've been using. And then we'll go back and use the phthalo and the green. Whoa, come on, mix. And see how it gives it a different, adding that more blue definitely gives it a different color to an already manufactured color. A lot of times when you go to these stores and they give you all these fancy colors, that's so you don't have to mix them, right? Why mix your paint? When I can give you a tube of it and it's the same color all the time. Because mixing the paint, if you wanted a bunch of colors that look like this, mixing the paint is going to be hard because it's the amount of paint that you use, unless you're measuring it. And then at that point, it's a manufactured print, right? So, 1 second here. I want to pull up. Okay, I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to pull up this print, but when we do this, we're going to reprint over this one. I'm just pulling up this print because I want to leave the space underneath the stencil. So we'll reprint over this one that I'm using. What's going to happen is I'll just have a lot of white on this print. All right, now let's get this up here. Okay, so this one we used a blue green and a lot of blue. Okay. We're going to reprint on through this. I don't like all that white space. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a lot of green and a little blue green. So we're going to take these two colors. Now I'm using this one as my green. It's a little darker. It's the Hooker's green. It's got a little bit of a yellow tone to it, undertone to it, but and then we're going to mix this little blue green. I don't know if you could see that. Oh, that was a little bit more blue green than I wanted, but here we are. I just don't have a regular true green, what I would call a true green. Add a little bit more. Okay. We got a lot of paint on our plate. Now, I can tell you this. That stencil that we just did, it may not show. I'm just saying, it just may not show. It's a little darker than the color we were just messing with. So, I'm just going to tell you up front, I'm a little worried that print may not work. I could just tell by the way the color went on the plate. So let's pull it like if it was a base print, just in case, and then we'll try the experiment again. Once you understand your colors and how they look, and um then maybe you don't have to experiment so much, but I like experimenting anyway. And I could just tell by looking at the color when I mixed it, the blue green and the green, it was a lot darker than the previous color that we used or mixed on the plate. So that's why I decided to go ahead and just change direction real quickly. Try to salvage what we have, and then we'll go back with our blue, green, and blue on top. All right. It's a lot darker. So we'll use this as a base layer and then go back in. Because I don't think that stencil is going to show, or that mask. Sorry, mask. Yeah, it barely shows. Is it? Get the wrong side of the... No, I didn't. Okay, it just looked like it. Yeah, so you could barely see it on here. It's such a subtle, which is a nice print, but let's put another layer on top of this. So we're going to go back to our blue, green, and our blue. And pull that green back over to the blue side. Yeah, I think that's... Oh, Sherry, you just used hooker's green. Okay, hold on. That's not what I want. Where is my palette knife? All right. Salvage that. Put that over there. The phthalo blue is what I'm using for my blue-green this time around. There you go. Now it's got more blue. It's got more blue tone to it. All right. So this is blue, green, and blue. I'm going to use a more open stencil so you can see the blue-green color through the... on top of the other color that we created. Now, if you really wanted to make a difference between your green and your blue, I mean, analogous colors. Oh, sorry. You could have done yellow, yellow, green, and green as your analogous colors. That would have given you a lot of contrast. But since I had used blue yesterday, I just thought I'd follow along with the theme of blue, blue, green, and green. Okay. So here, you see we have the blue green, a lot more blue, and that's the darker, that's this color here. and then we used the green and the blue green, and we added more green, and that is the background. And see what a subtle print that is. That is a nice like tone on tone type of print. But I just wanted to show you that using um, three colors, using three colors on the color wheel like that, analogous colors on the color wheel, it makes it a little easier for you. You don't have to worry about what colors go together. Use analogous colors. It's easy. It's built in. They just sit right next to each other in the color wheel. You just use those on your prints, and you can make some very interesting prints. Now, I will have to say, pick what I call true green. And you're probably wondering what a true green is. And to me, everybody has their own idea of a true green. Um, when you look at the green, does it have too much blue in it or does it have too much yellow in it? Because again, um, the colors on the color wheel, the primary colors on the color wheel are red, yellow, and blue and yellow make green. So that's why I say if it's got too much yellow in it, it's not a true green. If it's got too much blue in it, it's not true green either. And so the colors I used today had, one of each. They had a little bit too much, like a yellow tone. And when you look at it, you're like, oh, that looks a little yellowish. Or it had too much blue in it. I just didn't have a true green. So, I can't give you the name of a true green. There's not a paint color that's called true green. It's the one that looks most in the middle between blue and yellow to you. Um, the word Kelly green comes to mind, but I don't even know about that because Kelly greens could be totally different. But look at the greens when you're in the paint aisle or in your paint, like if you have paint, and if it looks middle of the road, between yellow and blue, then that's your green. Um, in this case, I didn't have a green. I was just thinking I may had it like a more yellowish green. But regardless, you can still use analogous colors even when you don't have a true green. We used one that had a little bit more yellow to it, and we also had one that had a little bit more blue. But they all were harmony. They all went together, and I did not have to think about the colors that I was going to mix on the plate and how they were going to turn out. Like if you go back, try mixing red and green, and what kind of color are you going to get? It's not going to be pleasing, trust me. But if you want to make it easier, definitely use analogous colors. And sometimes having that limited color palette helps you not overthink things. You got these three colors, go for it. That they go together. Um, so if you're interested in my launch and of my art, go ahead and get on my priority list. The link's below in the description. For community members, sometime this month in May, I will be having a community member call. And if you did not answer that poll, I only had 2 people that answered that poll. I'm going to pick and choose the time. So make sure that you go in there and pick your weekend. It will not be next weekend. That's Mother's Day. So all your mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. And you Star Wars fans, may the 4th be with you. I am a Star Wars fan, so may the 4th be with you. I should have opened the show that way, but I didn't. And with that, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. And thank you for watching Ratchet Up Your Art.